Do you all remember the moment almost a year ago that we gathered on this field? It was barely a week after the terrible massacres on October 7. We gathered on this field to rally as a community, to hold hands, to cry together, because we, and together with Jews all around the world, and of course in our beloved state of Israel, were heartbroken. We were downcast. We had a sense of the terrible destruction that had been wrought on our brothers and sisters. And we came to these very fields here at Yeshiva College, and we came together as a community to rally and to say that for all of the grief and the pain, the destruction, the horrors, the barbarism, for all of everything that the South African government did then and throughout the year to support that, we came together as the South African Jewish community to say that October 7 would not turn us into victims, that we refused the role of victimhood. There are so many in the West who today worship the idea of what it is to be a victim. But when we gathered on these fields, we declared to our fellow countrymen, we declared to Jewish communities around the world and to our brothers and sisters in Israel that we would not lie down. We would stand up as proud Jews. We would defend Israel with everything we have. We would rally, we would pray, we would protest, we would lobby, and we would do that with pride and with distinction, and that we would never allow ourselves to be victims. And so as we gather a year later, we have a sense of everything that has happened in this past year and our inspiration for standing tall and standing proud of the people and the government of the state of Israel. When we look back on this year, the state of Israel was on its knees, the sword at our neck. Our very existence as a people with an independent, sovereign Jewish state was in the balance. And the heroism of the people of Israel, the strength, the unbreakable spirit came through. And with God's help and blessings, the state of Israel rose to become and refused to become victims. And so when we gather on October 7, 1 year later, we do so with pain in our hearts, brokenhearted at the suffering, those who lost their lives on that terrible dark day, those who are still in captivity as we sit here in freedom, those soldiers who are fighting bravely in the south and in the north, whose lives are at risk at this very moment. But it is the spirit of a brave and mighty people saying to the world two simple Hebrew words that we come here tonight to say on this October 7 anniversary, on this moment when we reflect two simple Hebrew words, Ad HaNitzachon, until complete victory. We say that to all of the enemies of freedom, Ad HaNitzachon. That Israel will not stop, no matter the pressure from our so-called friends in the West, no matter the pressure from our enemies in other places. Am Yisrael Chai, and we will continue, and the state of Israel will continue, Ad HaNitzachon. And in the last few weeks, we have seen, with God's blessings, the most inspiring miracles of the dazzling power of the intelligence, the technology, the bravery of the state of Israel and her soldiers, all of the soldiers of the security forces of the state of Israel, the IDF, the Air Force, the Mossad, saying to the world, Ad hanitzachon, until victory, because we cannot rest until there is complete victory, because we gather here tonight to pay respects and to remember those who have fallen. But October 7 is not over, because our enemies seek to perpetrate it again and again and again. In the south, in the north, we know that this is not about a Palestinian state. We know that this is not about a political objective. We know that this is about their intentions to destroy the Jewish state. And it is led by Iran and the forces of violent jihad. And the only way that they will stop is when they are defeated completely, ad hanitzachon. And so as Jews, we gather here to say to President Ramaphosa, to say to the United Nations, to say on behalf of the South African Jewish community, to our brothers and sisters in Israel, to every human being on this planet, every human being that has a civilized heart and soul, that we cannot stop ad hanitzachon till this evil is eradicated from the world. And Israel, with God's blessings, at this moment, 1 year later, is poised to achieve a paradigm-shifting victory in the Middle East. It has destroyed Hamas. The battalions of Hamas have been dismantled one by one. It is in the process of destroying Hezbollah, and when it is done with that, it will destroy Iran ad hanitzachon until complete victory. The only way that we can truly pay tribute to those who died on October 7, to the hostages, to those who were brutally burnt and raped and beheaded, to the citizens of Israel who've had to endure rockets and displacement, the only appropriate response to such evil is to defeat it, and to defeat it completely. Not a half measure, not a ceasefire, not a pause for peace, but ad hanitzachon until the end, because then the world will be safe. And on this October 7, what we need, and the message must go out, what we need from the world, and when I say we, it is the people of Israel, the state of Israel, the Jewish people, all civilized nations. What we need today on this October 7 is not sympathy. Sympathy is for victims. We don't want mournful speeches from the heads of state. We don't want to hear their tears. And we don't want their sympathy and their sense of our pain. What we want is their gratitude to the brave soldiers of the IDF, to say thank you for putting your lives on the line for the sake of victory, ad hanitzachon. What we want from you is not sympathy, but support. Give your full support, diplomatic, military, financial support to the state of Israel, and say thank you that it is Israel's soldiers that are going into Lebanon. It should be the soldiers of the United States and France who should be there fighting an enemy like Hezbollah that has murdered US Marines, French citizens, and they haven't sent their own soldiers. The very least they can do is thank you that we are sending ours. The very least they can do is to support Israel in this, because a victory for Israel will be a victory for the free world, for democracy, for freedom, for human dignity across the world and here on the African continent. We say to President Ramaphosa and to this government that you should be thanking Israel, because the brothers in arms of Hamas are murdering Christian Africans across the border in Mozambique. They are beheading, burning, kidnapping in Mozambique, in Nigeria, across this continent, from the east to the west, from the north to the south. Boko Haram, Al-Shabaab, ISIS. These are the brothers in arms of Hamas. They're the same as Hamas and Hezbollah and Iran. This is a war of global jihad against freedom and democracy. So say thank you to the people of Israel and to the state of Israel, and tell them to finish the job for the sake of human civilization. Ad hanitzachon. And so tonight as we gather, we offer our humble tribute and our pledge of support as the South African Jewish community to the people of Israel, to the state of Israel, to the government of Israel, to say, Imo anochi betzara, as the verse says, the prophet said in the name of God, we are with you in this crisis and in this pain. We stand with you shoulder to shoulder because this is our fight. And we call on our fellow citizens of this country and of all decent people and every free democracy in the world to say, Imo anochi betzara, we are with you in this fight, ad hanitzachon. And may God bless the state of Israel, the people of Israel, the brave soldiers who are on the front lines for human civilization. And may God bless us all with the ad hanitzachon, the final victory, the defeat of evil. And most of all, the blessing for the final redemption. May it come speedily in our days. Umacha Hashem dimam el kol panim, when God will wipe away tears from all faces, v'cherpat amo yasir, and the reproach of his people he will remove from the earth. And until then, we will fight and stand shoulder to shoulder. Ad hanitzachon. God bless you all.